I want to give a shout out to Howard Stern. You know, this incredibly powerful voice over the past couple of decades, if not longer, on radio, Howard Stern. And my shout is, Howard Stern, Tucker Carlson called you a coward, man, and you can't let that stand. You got to retaliate. You can't let him call you that. You got to respond. Now, let me just say this, Howard Stern he uses language that I wouldn't use, but I've heard all that before. I've heard everything he's ever said, every foul word he's ever said. I've heard it before. So I'm a big boy. And Howard had me on his broadcast for nearly a year. I think he gave me a half an hour an interview and then played my clips for nearly a year, going back about a decade ago. And you know, I appreciate Howard Stern's pioneering. I mean, I think he changed. Howard Stern changed the way radio broadcasts and shock jocks. He is the father of it, and he will long since be remembered as that. His language, I don't approve of his language, but probably what I should have done when I was on the air with him, I should have tried to lead him to Jesus, ask if he'll accept Jesus as the Lord and Savior. That's what I should have done. So my own feelings for not doing that. But having said that, Howard, I don't think you ought to let Tucker Carlson, you know, I don't think you ought to let him talk about you like that, man. I think you ought to say something. Tucker Carlson ain't nobody. Who is he? Sitting there looking like a little boy that got to go to the bathroom and got to go bad. And he looks that way all the time. He looks that way no matter what. I think he needs to get another look. And besides, he was talking about you too, by the way. He and that fella he had on there the other day. I'm going to let everybody, Mr. Engineer, we got a clip of Tucker calling Howard coward. And Howard Stern, they call him Coward Stern. Howard, you can't let this, you got to do something. Mr. Engineer, roll that clip.
Howard Stern, by any measure, is one of the great radio hosts of all time. He makes a huge amount of money for doing what he does, but there's a reason for it. He was incredibly brave and creative. Vulgar, yes, but truly talented, but above all, courageous. Stern defended free speech. He was fired for it repeatedly. He used his platform to fight government censorship, to give the finger to the man. There was a lot that was impressive about Howard Stern, for sure, and that bravery allowed him to be creative, but not anymore. Maybe it was the coronavirus that broke him. Maybe it was just hormonal changes with middle age. He's now a coward, and his broadcast is about cowardice, amplifying his fears about corona over the air and more precisely attacking anybody else who's decided to live life as a free person.
When are we going to stop putting up with the idiots in this country and just say, it's mandatory to get vaccinated? F them, f their freedom. I want my freedom to live. I want to get out of the house already. I want to go next door and play chess. I want to go take some pictures. This is bull.
So this is a guy who's had every vax available, and he's still hiding in his basement because the vaccine works so well that he can't go out. Right. So when other people disagree, when Aaron Rodgers, for example, the athlete, decided to make his own medical decisions about the vaccine, Howard Stern was enraged. He said Rodgers should be kicked out of the NFL. Socializing is now off limits to Howard Stern. He scolded Oprah because she had the audacity to host, brace yourselves, a Christmas party.
And I'm really amazed by Oprah. I really am. I mean, on her Instagram, she likes to take you into her house where every night of Christmas is a big party, like a celebration, and she flies in a different chef. And it's getting very confusing to me. I see what's going on with COVID. Everyone's got it. Everyone's sick. People have 104 fever. I don't want to have 104 fever. I don't want to get sick. So I'm hiding. But everyone else is out running around. I see she's having dinner parties.
So the guy was always a narcissist. Obviously, the show was about himself. But again, he had a spirit. He had bravery. But he's declined into this kind of quivering mass of neuroses and hatred. Hatred that has so overtaken him that he's decided that anyone who doesn't follow his commands should just go die. Listen.
If it was up to me, anyone unvaccinated would not be admitted to a hospital. At this point, they've been given plenty of opportunity to get the vaccine. They don't trust our government. They think that there's some conspiracy to turn them into a magnet or something like this. Now, if you don't get it, in my America, all hospitals would be closed to you. You're going to go home and die.
So if you don't trust the government, you don't get health care and you should die. So the bigger question is, how did this brave, creative guy become a tool, a craven tool of the powerful wishing death on his own listeners? There's something sad about this, really sad. Jimmy Dore has watched it happen. He's the host of the Jimmy Dore Show, and we're happy to have him come on tonight. So Jimmy, I'm not even attacking Howard Stern, whom I respect for his talents, which are real. But what is this that we're seeing?
I don't know. Is there anything creepier than a guy who looks like a hippie but talks like a Fed? Not for my money. But please,
That's good.
Can't we all... I mean, Howard Stern, doesn't anybody care about Howard Stern anymore? He's just a poor guy who wants to go outside and feel the breeze in his wig. That's all he wants to feel. So what is weird to me is now he went from being a bad boy to becoming Hillary Clinton's buddy. How do you do that? He's about as dangerous as a pair of plastic scissors. So what happened is the establishment gave him $400 million, and now he's the establishment. And so now instead of standing up to the oligarchy and standing up to the government and standing up to authoritarianism, now he's preaching it. And he's like a bully to get you to do things the government wants you to do. It's the opposite of freedom. It's the opposite of what comedy is supposed to be. You're supposed to use comedy to undermine the status quo and poke holes in it and make fun of it. He's now using his platform to prop up the status quo, authoritarianism. And by the way, he's doing exactly what the oligarchy wants him to do, which is blame your neighbor. Right? He's not going to blame. Why are the hospitals so clogged? By the way, you don't want the hospital to get clogged because the next time he needs another chin liposuction, he won't be able to get in. But the point is, we have been cutting hospital beds. In New York State alone, they cut 30,000 hospital beds in the last 20 years. So we went from 1.5 million hospital beds down to 925,000 hospital beds since 1975. You know why there aren't enough ICU beds? Because it's not profitable to the private equity firms that administer our hospital emergency rooms now. People don't know this. In 2018, I just covered it on my show, there was a huge outbreak of the flu, and guess what? Every hospital in every state was overrun, and they were treating people in tents for the flu. So this idea that the COVID patient is the person you should be angry at, instead of the oligarchs who have been getting rid of hospital beds and ICU beds because they're not profitable, of course that's what Howard Stern does now, because he is the status quo. There's no point to him anymore. He turned in, and so instead, if you live long enough, as a hero, you're going to, I guess, turn into Don Imus, because that is what happened to Howard Stern. And it is sad to watch.
That guy, what is his name? He talks too much. That's the first thing. But, I don't agree with everything Howard Stern has said, obviously, and I don't use the language that he uses. But Howard, you can't let Tucker Carlson get away with this. I mean, you can't do that. Too many people that listen to you every day. And you're going to let somebody like Tucker Carlson looks like a little boy who got to go to the bathroom or is already sitting on the stool. That's what his face looks like. Like he's got cramps. You can't let him get away with this. So I'm saying, let's get it on. Woo! Let's get it on. Howard, call you a coward. At any rate, everybody, I'm James David Manning. I'm the Lord's servant.
See